If you're over 60 and doing your best to eat right, you're not alone. You've swapped chips for fruit, soda for water, and maybe even added some supplements to your routine. But what if I told you that some of the foods you trust the most, the ones labeled as healthy, might actually be the reason your joints ache every morning? Sounds crazy, right? Let's start with one of the biggest offenders hiding in plain sight: low-fat or fat-free yogurt. It's been praised for decades. Good for your bones, they said. Great for your gut, they claimed. But here's the problem: when manufacturers remove fat from yogurt, they usually replace it with one thing: sugar, and not just a sprinkle. We're talking about enough added sugars to spike your blood sugar, fuel inflammation, and quietly attack the soft tissues in your joints. Inflammation is like a slow-burning fire in your body. You may not see it, but you feel it in your knees when you get out of bed, in your fingers when you try to open a jar, or in your back after a short walk. And sugar, especially hidden sugar, is one of inflammation's favorite fuels. But that's not all. Low-fat yogurts often contain artificial sweeteners, preservatives, and thickening agents. These additives can disrupt your gut health, which studies now show is directly linked to joint pain. A stressed gut can trigger an immune response that spills into your joints, leading to more swelling, more stiffness, and less mobility. So while that small cup of healthy yogurt might seem innocent, it could be silently working against you. What should you do instead? Switch to plain full-fat yogurt, ideally from grass-fed cows. It has healthy fats that actually reduce inflammation, keep you full longer, and help your body absorb fat-soluble vitamins like D and K, which are vital for joint health. And if you want sweetness, add berries, not sugar. The idea is simple: don't just eat what's labeled healthy, eat what actually heals. Part 2. The whole grain trap. You've probably heard it 1,000 times. Whole grains are heart healthy. They're packed with fiber. Eat your oats. And that's true for some people. But for older adults, especially those over 60, some whole grains can be silently aggravating joint pain every single day. Let's talk about whole wheat bread. Now it sounds like a step up from white bread, and in many ways it is. More fiber, more nutrients. But here's the problem. Most whole wheat products today are made from highly hybridized wheat that's been genetically manipulated to increase yield and shelf life, not your health. This modern wheat contains a protein called gliadin, a cousin of gluten, that's been shown to trigger inflammation in many people, especially as they age. And the reaction doesn't just happen in the gut. It can show up in your knees, hips, hands, or even your spine. That stiffness you feel every morning. It might not just be aging. It might be your toast. In a study published in Arthritis Research and Therapy, participants with joint pain who removed gluten-containing grains from their diet saw a significant reduction in inflammation markers, even if they weren't officially diagnosed with gluten sensitivity. Here's the kicker. Many seniors rely on whole wheat bread for quick, healthy meals, but eating it day after day, year after year, can slowly grind away at your joint health without you ever connecting the dots. So what should you eat instead? Try sourdough made from ancient grains like spelt or einkorn. These grains haven't been hybridized the same way and are often easier to digest. Or go with sprouted grain breads, which reduce anti-nutrients and can support better digestion and absorption. And if you're open to it, experiment with grain-free options like almond or coconut flour products. Your joints just might thank you. Whole grains aren't the enemy, but modern wheat, it just might be. Ready for the next food that's been marketed as healthy, but could be chipping away at your joints every single day. Part 3. The tomato illusion. Why this healthy food might be fueling your joint pain. Tomatoes. Bright red, juicy, full of antioxidants. They're practically the poster child for a healthy diet. But what if I told you that for millions of people, especially those over 60, this innocent salad staple might be quietly making your joints stiffer, more swollen, and painfully inflamed? Sounds crazy, right? Let's unpack this. Tomatoes, along with peppers, eggplants, and white potatoes, belong to a plant family called nightshades. Now, nightshades aren't inherently dangerous. unless your body is sensitive to a chemical they all share, solanine. Solanine is a naturally occurring compound that helps protect the plant from insects and disease. But in the human body, it can act as a pro-inflammatory agent, especially in people with arthritis, autoimmune issues, or age-related joint degeneration. In fact, solanine has been studied for its ability to stimulate nerve receptors that increase pain perception, especially in joints. That means the more solanine sensitive you are, the more likely your knees, fingers, or lower back will ache after a big pasta dinner, even if it was full of healthy ingredients. A 2010 observational study published in Clinical Nutrition found that patients with osteoarthritis who removed nightshades from their diet for just 3 weeks reported reduced joint pain, improved mobility, and get this, even better sleep quality due to fewer nighttime aches. But here's where it gets really sneaky. Solanine builds up in your system. It doesn't trigger a reaction immediately for most people. You might eat tomatoes every day and feel totally fine, until one morning your fingers are too stiff to close, or your knees feel locked for no apparent reason. You blame age, you blame the weather, but the real culprit? It might be the tomato juice you've been drinking for your heart health. So what can you do? You don't necessarily have to say goodbye to tomatoes forever. Try cutting them out for 2-3 weeks and tracking how your joints feel. Then, reintroduce them slowly, raw, cooked, or as sauce, and take notes. Your body will tell you loud and clear whether it's a friend or a silent saboteur. And if you're craving flavor without the joint backlash, try anti-inflammatory options like beets, red cabbage, or roasted carrots. They offer that sweet savory balance without triggering inflammation. Tomatoes might look innocent, but in the wrong body at the wrong time, they can quietly accelerate joint breakdown like a wolf in sheep's clothing. Part 4. The whole wheat trap. When healthy bread turns against your joints. Whole wheat. It's on nearly every list of heart-healthy, diabetic-friendly, and weight-loss-approved foods. And for years, it's been pushed as the smarter alternative to white bread. But what if I told you that for people over 60, this healthy choice could be doing quiet daily damage to your joints? You see, whole wheat isn't just about fiber and vitamins. It comes with something far more complicated, and for many older adults, far more dangerous. Let's talk about 2 major problems hiding inside that slice of healthy toast. 1. Gluten and your aging gut. Gluten. You've heard the word 1,000 times, but what does it really do to your joints? Gluten is a protein found in wheat, barley, and rye. And while not everyone has full-blown celiac disease, millions of people, especially over the age of 50, have developed non-celiac gluten sensitivity without even realizing it. Here's the problem. As we age, the gut lining naturally becomes more permeable, a condition often called leaky gut. When that happens, gluten proteins can slip through the gut wall and trigger the immune system, leading to chronic low-grade inflammation. Where does that inflammation show up? In your knees, in your hands, in your hips and shoulders. Your immune system doesn't just attack the gluten, it starts attacking your own tissues, especially joint cartilage and connective structures. And since this process happens slowly, many people chalk up the stiffness and pain to just getting old. But what if it's the sandwich you're eating every day? 2. Wheat germ agglutinin in WGA, the stealthy saboteur. There's another danger in whole wheat no one talks about: a lectin called wheat germ agglutinin, or WGA. This is not gluten, it's a different compound entirely, and it's even more inflammatory in some people. WGA has been shown to mimic insulin, interfere with nutrient absorption, and worst of all, stimulate the immune system in ways that target joints and soft tissues. It doesn't take a high dose either. Even small amounts of WGA, over time, can trigger a slow grinding form of inflammation that wears down cartilage and increases joint fluid pressure. That means more stiffness, more swelling, less freedom of movement. And here's the kicker. Most processed whole wheat products, like store-bought breads, crackers, and wraps, are actually made from enriched hybridized wheat that contains even higher levels of WGA and gluten than traditional, heritage grains. That's right. The whole wheat bread you're trying to eat to be healthy may actually be more inflammatory than a piece of cake. So what's the solution? You don't have to give up bread forever, but it's time to get strategic. Try going 100% gluten-free for 2 meals 4 weeks and see how your joints respond. Explore ancient grains like quinoa, buckwheat, millet, or teff, which don't contain gluten or WGA, or opt for breads made with sourdough fermentation, which breaks down some of the gluten and lectins before you even take a bite. Some seniors have reported waking up without joint stiffness for the first time in years after ditching whole wheat for just 1 month. The results can be shockingly fast. Whole wheat may fuel your day, but if it's secretly fueling your inflammation. Part 5. The innocent-looking vegetable that could be fueling your joint pain. Tomatoes. Tomatoes, vibrant, juicy, and packed with antioxidants like lycopene. For decades they've been hailed as one of the healthiest foods you can eat. From heart health to skin glow, they're in nearly every health-conscious kitchen. But here's the twist that few seniors ever hear. For a large portion of adults over 60, tomatoes may actually worsen joint pain, stiffness, and even inflammation flare-ups. And the reason lies beneath the surface, in a group of compounds called nightshades. Let's uncover what that means and why the healthy tomato could be turning against your joints. Tomatoes and the nightshade family, a hidden problem for aging bodies. Tomatoes belong to a plant group known as the nightshades, which also includes potatoes, eggplant, peppers, and even goji berries. And while these foods are packed with nutrients, they come with a compound called solanine, a natural toxin plants use to defend themselves against pests. Here's the deal. In some people, especially those over 60 with existing joint issues, solanine can act like a spark to a fire. This fire, chronic inflammation in the joints. Studies have found that in sensitive individuals, solanine can interfere with enzymes in the gut and increase permeability, leading to more inflammation throughout the body, including in the joints. It also affects nerve muscle communication, which is why some people report not just pain, but burning or tingling in their knees, fingers, or spine. If you've ever felt your knees or hands become more swollen or stiff after pasta night, pizza, or tomato soup, it may not be your imagination. It may be the nightshades. What the research says, although not everyone reacts the same, there's increasing evidence that autoimmune-prone individuals, such as those with arthritis, Hashimoto's, or lupus, are more likely to experience flare-ups after consuming nightshades. In a 2017 pilot study, patients with osteoarthritis followed a nightshade elimination diet for 4 weeks. Over 68% reported reduced joint stiffness and morning pain, and 42% were able to reduce their NSAID usage. Now imagine what that means for someone who's unknowingly eating tomatoes in salads, ketchup, pasta sauce, and sandwiches every single day. Nair, the problem isn't just the tomato, it's how it's used. Let's be honest. Most people aren't eating plain organic heirloom tomatoes sprinkled with herbs. They're eating canned tomato soup with added sugar, pasta sauce with seed oils and preservatives, ketchup that's 40% high fructose corn syrup, salsa mixed with processed chips and salt bombs. When tomatoes are cooked, concentrated, and commercialized, the solanine content often increases, along with sodium, sugar, and preservatives. For seniors already battling joint discomfort or autoimmune issues, this combo can be a perfect storm for flare-ups. Nair. So what should you do? You don't have to give up tomatoes forever, but it's worth testing whether they're contributing to your pain. Here's a simple plan. Eliminate nightshades, tomatoes, peppers, eggplant, potatoes for 2-3 weeks. Keep a journal tracking your joint pain, energy, and mobility. Slowly reintroduce them one at a time, starting with tomatoes, and observe any changes. Many seniors are shocked to find their swelling goes down, their mobility improves, and even their mood lifts after cutting out tomatoes and other nightshades. If you're constantly waking up stiff, aching after dinner, or relying on ibuprofen just to walk, your favorite health food may be the silent trigger. There's more to joint health than glucosamine pills and stretching routines. Sometimes, The most powerful changes come from what you remove, not what you add. Part 6. The heart-healthy oil that's actually wrecking your joints. Canola oil. For years we were told to ditch butter and lard in favor of light, cholesterol-free alternatives. Enter canola oil, a pale yellow liquid, marketed as a heart-friendly modern miracle, found in everything from salad dressings to roasted vegetables. It's now a kitchen staple in millions of households, especially among older adults trying to eat healthier. But what if I told you that canola oil could be silently degrading your joints, day after day, meal after meal? And the most dangerous part, you may not even realize you're consuming it. Let's break down why this oil, despite its reputation, could be fueling inflammation, cartilage breakdown. Part 6. The heart-healthy oil that's actually wrecking your joints. Canola oil. For years we were told to ditch butter and lard in favor of light, cholesterol-free alternatives. Enter canola oil, a pale yellow liquid, marketed as a heart-friendly modern miracle, found in everything from salad dressings to roasted vegetables. It's now a kitchen staple in millions of households, especially among older adults trying to eat healthier. But what if I told you that canola oil could be silently degrading your joints, day after day, meal after meal? And the most dangerous part, you may not even realize you're consuming it. Let's break down why this oil, despite its reputation, could be fueling inflammation, cartilage breakdown, and chronic joint pain in those over 60. Meyer. Canola oil. The processed truth they don't talk about: canola oil doesn't come from a naturally occurring canola plant. It's derived from a plant called rapeseed, which is naturally high in a compound called erucic acid, toxic in large amounts. To make canola oil safe and palatable, manufacturers had to genetically modify the plant and process it heavily using high heat, chemical solvents like hexane, bleaching, and deodorizing agents. The result, a shelf-stable oil with a long expiration date, but almost no resemblance to a natural food. Even more troubling, these industrial processes often oxidize the fats in canola oil, turning them rancid before they even hit the pan. And oxidized oils, they're one of the biggest contributors to systemic inflammation in the human body. Meyer. How it damages your joints. Over time, when you consume oxidized fats like those found in processed canola oil, they don't just sit in your stomach. They enter your bloodstream and generate free radicals, unstable molecules that attack your cells, including the delicate tissues around your joints. This leads to cartilage breakdown, especially in weight-bearing joints, like knees and hips, synovial fluid damage, reducing the natural lubrication your joints need to move smoothly. Mitochondrial stress, which weakens the cells responsible for joint repair. A 2016 study in the journal Lipids in Health and Disease found that mice fed a high canola oil diet developed accelerated osteoarthritis symptoms, including increased cartilage erosion and elevated inflammatory markers in their joints. And while humans aren't mice, we share a key vulnerability. Our joint tissue is highly sensitive to dietary fats. The omega imbalance, a hidden enemy. After 60, another reason canola oil is harmful for aging joints. It destroys your omega balance. Our bodies thrive on a healthy ratio of omega-6 to omega-3 fatty acids, ideally around 2, 1 or 3. But canola oil, despite being advertised as balanced, often leads to omega-6 dominance because of how much it's consumed, and the fact that many seniors are low on omega-3s to begin with. Why is that a problem? Omega-6s are pro-inflammatory in high amounts, and when the ratio is out of balance, it primes your body for chronic low-grade inflammation, joint stiffness in the morning, slower recovery from injury or exercise, increased risk of autoimmune flare-ups. Where is canola hiding? Here's the scary part. Even if you're not buying a bottle of canola oil, it's still in your diet if you eat store-bought salad dressings, hummus or dips, healthy veggie chips, frozen meals or microwave dinners, canned soups, restaurant or takeout food. It's the default oil in most commercial kitchens and food manufacturers because it's cheap, bland, and shelf-stable. That means your anti-inflammatory salad could be dressed in a pro-inflammatory oil, undoing all your efforts. Meyer, what should you use instead? Here's the good news. You don't need canola oil at all. For cooking, sautéing and dressing salads, better options include extra virgin olive oil, rich in polyphenols, and proven to fight inflammation, avocado oil, stable at high heat, and full of joint protective monounsaturated fats, grass-fed ghee or butter, loaded with vitamin K2, and healthy saturated fats for bone strength, coconut oil, antimicrobial and gentle on the digestive system. Making this switch doesn't just support joint health, it protects your heart, brain and metabolism too. Many seniors report that after eliminating canola and other seed oils, their morning stiffness disappears, their hands stop swelling, and they feel more flexible and energized throughout the day. Meyer, it's not about fearing fat, it's about choosing the right kind of fat.